Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for another webinar with RBC. Today's webinar is called Job Search Preparation Before You Arrive in Canada, and it is presented by the RBC Newcomer Meeting Place in Brampton. And joining us today will be Vivian Lee, who's a Senior Manager for Inclusive Recruitment at RBC, and Clarinda Andres, who's a Digital Banking Advisor at RBC.
Thank you, Sonia. Hello, everyone. My name is Vivian. I don't know whether you have joined our webinars before, but today I'm very excited to be with my colleagues at the Brampton Newcomer Meeting Center. So usually I host the webinars from my little cubicle, but today I have my lovely colleagues with me, and so it's quite an exciting place to be, but I won't steal the thunder. I will just talk about myself a little bit. So I am an immigrant myself. I came to Canada in 2013. And actually this year is my 10th year with RBC. Oh, yeah! Congratulations. Thank you. So I joined RBC actually in December. I remember it was the first week of December. So it's my very long relationship, very happy. And I came to Canada when, in 2013, in a hot July day, and I was so frightened. So I can understand, your journey as a newcomer coming to Canada with all the language, culture barriers, with very few friends, and trying to, find job, launch your career, and start a new life in Canada. So a part of my job is going into the community and help the newcomers launch a successful career, and possibly launch a career in RBC. So that's why I'm here today. Samia, I think maybe we can pass on to the next slide.
Yep.
Hi, that's me. My name is Clarinda. You can call me Claire. Good morning or good evening from Asia. I'm your digital banking advisor here at the RBC Newcomer Meeting Place. And just like Vivian, I was a newcomer not too long ago. We came to Canada 2011, so that's about 7 years. Mm-hmm. So I came to Canada with my husband and 2 kids. They were 10 and 12, so it was very daunting. It was challenging, and I had a wonderful learning journey with me before I actually landed in RBC. I'm going 4th year with RBC, and I am privileged to be a part of this great format that we're having, and that is to actually reach out to you guys who are planning to come here. Maybe you're here already in Canada, and that's why we're here to help you out. And I'm looking forward to talking to you. I'm so excited, and we'll share more. And I'll talk to you more later. On to the next slide, I guess.
Awesome. Thank you, ladies. Great introduction. And before we move into our presentation, we're going to show everyone a video about how it is like to work at RBC. All right, thank you for watching, everyone. This video always makes my heart warm. So over to you, Vivian.
Yeah, so before we talk about job searching and our amazing newcomer meetup place in Brampton, I'm just going to talk a little bit more about RBC and our hiring practice. So as you see on the slide, one of our guiding hiring principle is to hire from the community to serve the community. We know that, RBC, we always put the client first. And because, Canada is such a diverse country, we actually serve our clients in 200 languages. And I want you to guess, who do we hire to serve our clients from? So a lot of our new hires, especially in the client-facing roles, they are newcomers just like yourself. So we do every year we do a lot of events, and then we hosted some mentoring opportunities, just like what we held just a few months ago in the newcomer meetup place. We do events a lot like that, and sometimes we bring our newcomer, our RBC employees, and sometimes we bring our recruiters and the hiring managers to have a direct interaction with newcomers, so that a lot of newcomers can get advice and possibly get hired from those events. 33% of our workforce are visible minorities. So visible minority is a Canadian term to say if you are non-white and then Caucasian, and you're not Aboriginal, so you are a visible minority. So a lot of newcomers fall under this category. I don't know whether everybody's aware, like in Toronto, in the GTA, we'll call it GTA area, over 50% of our workforce are currently immigrants or children of the immigrants. In next 15 years, almost 70 over around 80% of our workforce will be immigrants or children of immigrants. So that really defines our strategy to try to attract talent from different communities. Then because RBC has such a huge focus for newcomers and helping newcomer clients and talent, we have a very good representation. And in recent years, our focus has been to try to help our newcomer or immigrant employees to develop their leadership capabilities so that their career can move up to the next level. So we have a lot of programs and the networking opportunities. We also have an employee resource group called Mosaic. You can look at a picture. That's actually one of the event that RBC Mosaic organized to celebrate our diversity festival. So people dress up from their different cultures and celebrate by dancing and different food from different cultures. It's an event that everybody look forward to that year. So basically, it's an amazing place to work. We have been actually Canada's best diversity employer for so many years, and we're also the top Canadian employers. One thing worth mentioning is 95% of our employees are very proud to be part of RBC. You can actually sense that from later on Clarinda's presentation, and I'm sure you can hear from her voice and the passion that she loves working, and I'm proud of being a part of RBC. So I will stop here. I'll pass on to Clarinda to talk to us a little bit about this amazing RBC Newcomer Meetup place.
Thank you, Vivian.
Over to you.
Hi again. My name is Clarinda, for those who just logged in. So Vivian was very right that RBC is supporting newcomers, and we are very happy to be here today to support you as well, because they have supported me when I came. I was actually a business owner from back home, not even from a banking background, but here I am with RBC Royal Bank. So you can definitely come and see us in our space. We are newcomers helping newcomers. This is a very special place, and opened our doors just January of this year. It's the very first in the country and the only bank that actually goes beyond banking. So on the next slide, you will see that in our space, it is really very warm and cozy. I know you would find it very different from the traditional banks, maybe from where you are and when you come to Canada as well. Because as I said, we are the only one who really goes beyond banking. That's why we are more than just a bank. You will come here and meet me and also the whole team, Sheila and Nina. We're here. We're friendly, so don't hesitate. It is really a place to come together. Bring us all your questions and we'll get you the answer. And that's because we really try our best to find the solutions for you to help you in your settlement. On to the next slide. So really our mission is to provide support, guidance, resources, and connections to the community to make settlement in Canada easier. And that is, and how we do that, we actually partner with different settlement organizations like ACCESS Employment, who are experts, and that's how we collaborate with the same goal of making your transition here in Canada easier. In our place, we provide warm, personalized advice in banking and beyond. So definitely, I'm an advisor. I can give you all the information and guide you with all your banking needs from basic banking, show you the difference of, is it really different between checking and current account or savings account, and of course how big credit here in Canada is, and everything else, like how would you bring money here, send money over when you're here already, or how do you find a place to stay. Those are questions that I asked myself as well when I landed. So we know that that's also very important for you guys. So on to the next slide. These are the questions we receive from the newcomers that we have in our space, right? So I mentioned about banking in Canada, finding your home, whether you're renting or you want to buy right away. We can give you the information how it is done here in Canada. And most importantly, and Vivian would be the key to that, is finding your first job, right? Of course, income is important. You need to pay, bills when you come here, and we know how important that is, and maybe you're worried or anxious about it. Of course, it's a big change, we understand, and there is a process. And what I can just assure you guys is, we are here to help. ACCESS is here to help. Canada is a place where you can really go out and ask, and people are willing to help. So if you're here already or just coming over, you can definitely have all those questions, and we will be here to help you. And of course, RBC is here to help you not only for your short-term, but also long-term goals, right? I know some will be coming with kids as well, with family. And so we also have programs for your kids as well. We have a way for you to save for them long-term. And on to the next slide. So as I mentioned, so we have services like day-to-day needs of our clients, and we partner, we network with our community, and also we provide several tools and strategy services such as employment workshops for finding a job or starting a business. So more about that really, apart from this webinar in partnership with ACCESS, which I think is so great because this tool was not available back then, right, Vivian? So I would say you guys are really on the right track already, having all this information and meeting us even before you come here or land. So these are just one of those tools. And when you come to Canada and get in touch with us, we'll be able to share with you so many other events that we hold for just to help you and give you the information, right? On to the next slide. I think yes, so this is just one example. So we reached out into our community and we talked about retirement planning for this group of women, right? And We also do reach out to newcomer students in high school, different high schools, and we teach them financial literacy. So not only because we understand that it's not only the parents who go through change and adjustment, also the kids. So we have incorporated them in the settlement as well. And we also hold employment workshops, of course. We have events where we can answer your questions about what to know when you want to buy your first home here. And you may want to take note of this because if you will be here in Toronto or Canada or Brampton, rather, we'll be having a healthcare event on December the 1st. And that is basically giving you all the information about what you can expect in the healthcare of Ontario if you land in our province, right? So I'm sure you've heard about, healthcare is free, but what is really free? What is the coverage? Okay, so that event is upcoming. And on the 5th, we have another event, which is a LinkedIn event. So you will learn more about networking here in Canada, which is so very, very important. When I left my country, I have given up all my friends and family, not literally, but social capital is zero when you land here in Canada. So networking is very important, and that is meeting people. Seeing them face to face and asking questions. So that's all about the LinkedIn event. And that's happening on December the 5th. If you want more details, you can definitely reach out to us. And on the side note, I would advise you guys to already prepare your LinkedIn profile if you haven't updated your picture and all the other details. All right. So on the next slide, definitely we work together with our community, and also you can come to our branch on a one-on-one session, right? We can set up an appointment because we do understand as well that each individual have their own situation. Each one is different needs and different wants as well, different aspirations, different goals. So we are here to help you, and we can guide you through our partnership with our community partners, internal partners within RBC, and also from our own personal resource. As we are, as I said, I was a newcomer myself at one time. And if ever, just in case you don't land in Ontario, or you're not close by Brampton or the GTA, as Vivian said, which is the Greater Toronto area, please don't let that stop you. Still send out an email, say hello, and we can definitely find somebody for you and connect you with that organization or person within RBC. So you're not left out, all right? And on to the next slide. I think, so this is our space. Come by and say hello. We are conveniently located at the Brampton Civic Center, and we're here for you. And on the next slide, I think we have more details. So we are exactly at 150 Central Park Drive, Brampton, Ontario. It's a building where you will also find the public library, where you will find a great resource of information as well. So all newcomers should definitely go to a library nearest you. And so again, that's my name over there on the screen, Clinton Andres. My number is there, 437-925-9205. Email clarinda.andres@rbc.com. And that's my assistant branch manager's contact information as well, Sheila Armena. And reach her at sheila.armena@rbc.com. And for more information, visit us at rbc.com/newcomers. That page is all about you guys. Everything that you need to know is there. And if you want more information, I'm here. And I hope to see you soon. Thank you so much for listening to me.
Thank you. That was a great job, Clarinda. And definitely I would, encourage you, if you're close to our Brampton Center, and even if you're in Mississauga and the GTA area, definitely drop by. And then maybe you don't have a, specific banking need, but But even like as a newcomer, once a newcomer myself, definitely there are times you feel down or feel alone. Just come and have a chat with the lovely staff in the community. I'm sure they will be able to provide some advice and some support. So anyway, so I'm going to talk a little bit about networking and resumes. Because as a newcomer and you come to Canada, and I think the most the top priority is to find a job, right? But in Canada, networking is very important. Sonia, if you could move to the next slide. Yeah, networking is very important. Even though most employers, we post jobs on our public website. Yeah, we post, I would say 99% of job posting are, available to the public, but a lot of the interview opportunities are acquired through networking. There are a few networking types that I want to mention that I hope will be useful to you. Definitely when you arrive, try to find some good employment agencies, such as the ACCESS Employment, because that helps a lot. When you're doing job searching by yourself, sometimes the information is limited. But when you work with an employment agency, they can help you connect with the employers. They can help you with your resumes and interview techniques. They can provide a lot of useful information in the job area you're looking for. For example, we partner with ACCESS Employment a lot to host events and also bring our, say, recruiters and the hiring managers sometimes to meet with the candidates. So those are the opportunities that you wouldn't be able to get through just job searching yourself. And the most important, they're free, so why not explore that opportunity, right? Another thing is you can try informational interview. What is informational interview? It's basically you want to look for a particular position, or you want to know a little bit about what's it like to working in a specific industry, and you reach out to the employer and ask for the employer's maybe 30 minutes of their time, just get to know what is it like for this role, what is the role required. Say, I'm interested in this role, what do I need to work on so that I get the opportunity, right? So basically to get the information about the job. One thing I want to point out is for information interview, don't get frustrated when people don't respond, because you can maybe reach out to 10 people or 10 companies for information interview, and people are busy. So even if they don't respond to you right away, or even if like only one person responded, so that is your great success. So a lot of our community, Newcomer Community Center, a lot of our employees are immigrants ourselves, and a lot of people are willing to provide that kind of help and support to newcomers like yourselves. But sometimes they have their job priority, they're busy with their clients, so just be conscious of that, and do not get frustrated when you don't get a response, right? And another advice I would give is definitely do not ask for too long of the interview time. Usually is between maybe 20 minutes to 30 minutes, because when you ask for a 30 minutes interview, people are more likely to carve out that 30 minutes out of their busy schedule. But if you're asking, say, oh, I want to meet you for a whole morning, that is not very easy. So make sure that you respect the time of others, and not get frustrated, for sure. Another thing is community. So, you know, what we have here at the community center, the library, you also will have a lot of opportunities to go to a lot of community events. And those events are, you know, usually not job related, but you might be able to make a connection with someone or even volunteer for some community events or initiatives. That will allow you to make a lot of connection who are already here, who might have some kind of connection with you, either culturally or religiously or, you know, maybe professionally. Right, so that helps you really get additional information in your job searching. I definitely encourage people to explore the opportunity in the community area. But one thing I want to really touch on for newcomers is it is very important to be engaged in the community, but do not be scared to step out of your comfort zone, to get out of your own community. For example, I am from China originally. If I had, you know, stayed within my own Chinese community, I wouldn't have had the opportunity to learn more about the Canadian culture, which is very culturally diverse and very inclusive. And I wouldn't be able to practice my English, you know, to be honest. And I get to, you know, coming out of your comfort zone a little bit really allows you to learn a lot about the beauty of Canada, and it really makes you think why you want to come to Canada, right? And become a part of the reason why you want to come to Canada. What is it about this beautiful country that attracts you? And then you become a part of it. So that's something I want to point out. There are a lot of professional networking events or conferences. So that's where you can meet someone you want. So for example, you are a finance professional. There are a lot of conferences, there are a lot of meetup groups, seminars, and sometimes it costs a little bit. Maybe, you know, it's really based on how much you can afford. Sometimes the events are free. And the reason to join those events are when that allows you to connect with someone or a lot of people who are already working in the industry, and they can give you advice in terms of job searching and how they originally find a job. And there might be some opportunity, hidden opportunity, like you know, they didn't come to the event to look for a potential employee, but they might have something that will open up in a few months, and they will think about you if you have you are able to have a great conversation and showcase your skills, right? So that's another thing I want to touch on. And the last thing I want to touch on is never underestimate the volunteer opportunity. As some of you might have seen that I, in my own personal slide, I got my first job opportunity as a volunteer. So when I first came to Canada, my major was English. So when I first came, the dilemma for me is I'm not a computer expert and I'm not a finance expert, which is a lot of the newcomers are, you know, specialized in. And my only, you know, my only area is English. So where's the job opportunity for me? And I find I try to do some research about and do some self-reflection about what is it I want, right? This is a great new opportunity. I decided that I'm very interested in human resources, especially the employment law area. So I registered myself, you know, in a course in a post-secondary institute in Toronto. But after I graduate, I don't have the previous experience in HR, and I am a newcomer. Even though my English was my background, but I'm not a native speaker. So those are the challenges I was seeing for myself. So how can I get the experience to be able to showcase that to the potential employer? So I chose a volunteer. And a lot of times when you volunteer, I think there are a few strategies. You don't have to choose, you know, accept any volunteer opportunity that's thrown at you, because you want to really learn something from the volunteering experience. Sometimes it's about, oh, this volunteer experience is something, it's the area I want to work in. So that's something that's valuable, or it's something that you want to work on. For example, if you're a newcomer, and a lot of newcomers, their English is not first language, and in order to find a good job opportunity, you might want the opportunity to practice your English, right? So find a volunteering opportunity that allows you to have a conversation, so build a relationship, practice even your English with a lot of strangers. So for example, at volunteer at the community, maybe reception desk, or help other newcomers. Those kind of opportunities really allow you to practice and allow you to get out of your comfort zone. So when you choose a volunteer opportunity, think about how you will benefit from the experience, and it's also an act of paying it forward. A lot of Canadians, really value paying it forward. When you come here, you will experience that, I'm sure, and they're so friendly, and they're willing to help. Just like when you're volunteering, you are helping others. So I'm going to pause there for the networking. And if you have further questions, you can definitely ask later on in the Q&A section. I'm going to talk a little bit about resume writing. Okay, so for resume writing, I'm sure every country had different requirement. I'm going to talk about in a Canadian workplace, what is important for resume writing. First, okay, a lot of people have only one resume, and that is okay. But when you apply to a specific role, you need to adjust your resume based on the role requirement. For example, you are, say, an IT professional, you're a project manager, right? And that you apply for different project manager roles, and you have a standard resume that's in front of you, but you should really look at different project management roles that are posted and you want to apply. And for example, this project manager role needs the people who have worked with cross-culture teams. And if you had the previous experience of working with cross-culture teams, you should really take up your resume and highlight that experience. Either put more content into support the statement, or bold it. Right. So, say another example is if it's required that you have the previous customer service experience, you might want to highlight that experience. So you have a standard resume, but always tailor your resume based on the job you apply. And then another thing is highlight what makes you stand out. And I'm going to talk that in combination of the be specific and quantitative. A lot of the resumes I see, the problem is they talk about their responsibilities for their job, not their achievement. That is not very effective resume. Why? Because when you talk about your job responsibilities, there are maybe hundreds of people who have done the similar job. That's their job responsibility. But what you want to highlight is, in this job, what I was able to achieve. That's why you want to be specific and quantitative. So you want to showcase even like what was the task and what was maybe potentially there was a challenge, and how did you overcome the challenge. And that will also help you prepare for your future interview if you can be specific and showcase your achievement. And as I mentioned, do not, as newcomer, you might not have the Canadian experience yet, so do not be afraid to add in your volunteer and extracurricular experience. And the grammar and the spelling check is almost like a no-brainer. I know a lot of people, for a lot of people, English is not the first language, but there are a lot of tools nowadays to help you double check. And I sometimes it really, it is something that doesn't matter like 100%. If you make one grammar mistake, you automatically be disqualified. Not necessarily, but think about this way. If there are two candidates who are presented to the hiring manager, and you have the exactly same qualification, and your grammar, you made some grammar mistakes or spelling mistakes, that is a sign of your attention to detail capability. And how much you're dedicated, because job searching is very important. And if you're not able to really, make sure that everything is perfect, that shows that maybe you didn't want that job that much, right? So always make sure you check your grammar. Sometimes we get asked about the cover letter. Is the cover letter important? And how should I not include a cover letter? My position is it's always nice to have a cover letter. It's almost like a cherry on top, a spare tire. So personally, if I look at people's resume, if I have, say, my top 5 candidates, I would always look at a cover letter. Why? Because from hiring manager and the recruiter's perspective, I would consider cover letter as the additional opportunity for a candidate to show why they want a job and why they consider they are the best candidate for the job, and why do they think they have the skills needed. So that shows additional passion and additional eagerness and authenticity when they really put some time and put together a cover letter. However, some hiring managers, it might not matter to them, right? So it really depends on the hiring manager, and also depends on the role you apply to. If you're applying for a communication role, a cover letter is actually a great way for you to showcase your English communication capability. Maybe when you can communicate and write a very beautiful cover letter, right? So it really depends on the role. The last thing I want to highlight is, especially for our newcomers, you might think, okay, it's a very obvious, but believe me, there are so many times when we got a resume, we feel the candidate is a good fit. When we try to contact the candidate, we couldn't reach the candidate. Why? Because a lot of newcomers, when we first come to Canada, we change our address a lot. We change our phone numbers a lot. And when we change it, because the life is constantly on the go and there's so many stressful situations to deal with, and sometimes we just forget to change the contact information. And that is the only way for recruiter and hiring manager to reach out to you. So always double check before you submit a resume that your contact information is updated. So I'm going to move to the next slide to talk about what not to say in the resume. First is one size fits all resume. Say whether you are applying for a project manager role or project control officer role or a business analyst role, you use the same resume. That is a big no-no. So like I just said, what you need to do in your resume is always tailor to the role. I know it takes a little bit more time, but it really enhances your possibility of getting the interview and getting the job. Another thing is, do not include whether you're male, female, where's your country of origin, your height, your date of birth, the picture, marital status. We see this a lot in our newcomers' resumes, because in certain countries and in certain cultures, it is required that you put whether you're single or not, or your picture. And how old are you? In Canada, just on the contrary, we consider those elements irrelevant of whether you are able to perform in the role. And a lot of employers actually prefer not to see those because it put them at risk of discrimination. And we want to assess you based on your skills and capabilities and how well you will be able to perform on the job versus where you're coming from, and whether you're married or not, whether you're good looking or you're a man or female. So that is something definitely need to be removed from your resume and put something more about your experience into your resume. Something to consider, not to write long paragraphs, because for a recruiter, usually they have maybe between 30 seconds to a minute to review one piece of resume. Make it easier for a recruiter. When you have some bullet points, it's very easy for recruiter to read, and sometimes you bold the important words. That's even better. But when you write very long paragraphs, it's hard for a recruiter to just with a feel like a 30-second to get a sense of how qualified you are. So make it easier for the recruiter. You're making it more accessible for yourself, right? Do not use the jargons your interviewer don't understand. For example, you might use certain jargon in your area, but do not just automatically assume that your recruiter would understand. And that's something that is also the same. We give the same advice when you are in the interview. So if you're interviewing for a role and the hiring manager or recruiters are using the jargons that you don't understand, never be afraid to ask. Ask them to clarify, what did you mean? And do not think that recruiters will think you're stupid or you're not experienced enough not to even know the jargon, because there's so many jargons in different areas and different countries, maybe a different field, and even different companies, they have different jargons. So let's try to avoid that in the resume. Make it as clear as possible. A lot of people ask whether they need to list the references in the resume. I want to let people know that reference is optional. It's always only needed when the hiring manager asks for it. So do not waste your resume space to list your reference. After we review your resume and after we interview you, we think, oh, okay, you're maybe our top candidate. That is when the hiring manager say, hey, maybe I need to do some reference check. That is when we need your reference, and you have enough time to provide that information. Okay, so I'm looking at the clock. It's 11:45. I'm going to stop here. Okay, so before we open up for Q&A, I just want to encourage everybody to go out to our newcomers website. There are a lot of great information for you as a newcomer, from banking side and from mortgage, and a lot of great information. I do believe they provide in different languages, right?
Hi, I'm back. Yes. So please, I know maybe language would be a challenge, but don't you worry, because we do have a language line in our branch, all RBC branches, that will definitely assist you. If you need assistance, let us know, and communication will never be better for you guys. So don't worry about that.
Okay, so now we also encourage you to go to our RBC job site. We have a brand new job site. It's almost like your Amazon shopping experience. So when you search one job and you save that job, we will send you the job that's similar to the one that you're interested in. So today is a Black Friday. Don't forget to go to our job site to really shop for jobs at RBC. Okay.
Nice one, Vivian.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, ladies. That was a great webinar, and I really liked the Black Friday search for jobs. That's what everybody should be doing instead of spending money. All right, perfect. So we're going to go into the Q&A session now. I know that some people have already put in their questions. I'll give everyone a few moments as well. All right, so let's start seeing this. So Rahman from Bangladesh is working there as a credit analyst in a leading bank and has over 10 years of experience. And he wants to know how he can prepare himself if he wants to lend in Canada.
So for people in finance, I believe there are certain credentials like a designations or licenses sometimes needed, certifications needed. So definitely do some research about those requirements first, because that will always put you at an advantage once you get that. And maybe certain certifications that you can actually start preparing before you even land in Canada, and that will put you ahead of others. That would be my advice. Keep in touch with us and keep in touch with ACCESS Employment. I know that they have the finance stream that help newcomers in the finance area to connect them with different employers. So definitely connect with them.
Awesome, thank you. And another question that a lot of people have is from Fuad. If I'm applying for a job before coming to Canada, mentioning my arrival date, what is the possibility of getting a call for an interview? And we get this question a lot from a lot of our pre-arrival clients.
It really depends, right? So different hiring managers have different hiring needs. For example, some manager might, I need this person to start within a month. And sometimes we need, some hiring managers might need this role. I can wait as long as you find the right candidate for me. Really depends on the role and the hiring manager's requirement. For example, in our IT, I don't know whether people know that RBC is actually Canada's largest IT employer. Except the government of Canada. So we invest a lot in IT. We're always searching for technology talent, and there's a talent war now in Canada. So in some positions, for example, cybersecurity, for example, cloud, some hiring managers are willing to wait until you land in Canada, and they are willing to set up Skype interviews. We actually do a lot in the tech space. But for example, in some other roles, and the hiring manager might have an immediate need, like if a VP need an executive assistant, they might need it yesterday. So they might not be able to afford to wait. So it really depends on. You can definitely apply and communicate with the recruiter that you will arrive at a certain date.
Thank you. Next question is from Sharon. Is it mandatory to do a Canadian Securities course to get a job in the banking industry in Canada?
I'd love to answer that. It's not mandatory because there are positions that you can actually go into to start in your banking career without that certification. So it really depends on the position that you want to apply for. I would not deny that it will definitely help if really that is the path and career goal that you're planning to get into here in Canada. It will definitely help you. But if you're just looking to start your career in the bank, that is not a primary requirement.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. I want to share with everybody, we recently did 2 very successful events. So what we did was we reached out to different newcomer community, including employment agencies like ACCESS, and let them know that we were recruiting the banking advisor roles and the client advisor roles. Those are the client-facing roles. And we were able to collect maybe 100 resumes from the newcomer place, and then we would send them the assessment. They have to pass the assessment to be able to invite it to the event. So each event, we were able to invite 50 newcomers and people from other diverse communities to meet with recruiter and hiring managers, and we were able to make the decision within 2 days. So think about it. You are invited to the event maybe Friday, and on Monday you will hear that you will get a job offer. So that's how we did it. We were able to provide in each event around 20 to 25 job offers. And their majority of them are newcomers to Canada, and they have not got their certification yet.
Wow, thank you. I hope that clarifies a lot of confusion for everyone. Our next question is from Jagadishwaran. Wants to know if it's a possibility to volunteer with RBC. He's in IT project management and wants to know if there's any volunteer-based roles.
Currently, no. And the reason why, because we don't really want people to work for free, and that's basically the reason. But I do encourage everyone. We are exploring, though. We're exploring the opportunity to create that experience, but maybe not volunteer, right? Paid experience. I don't know when it's going to be announced to the public, but we are exploring that possibility. However, you can actually check out some internship opportunities. There's an organization called Career Edge. Yes. Career Edge, EDGE. So there's an internship stream called Internationally Qualified Professionals. We actually hire a lot from that stream. The pay for the internship is not as high as a full-time opportunity, but you do get the great experience. So that might be an alternative way that you can showcase your skills.
Thank you for answering that question, Vivian. And us here at ACCES also believe the same thing, that we do not want you working for free. There's other volunteering that you can do. It's something in the community, just helping out, getting your name out there. But as far as employment is concerned, we strongly believe that with your skills and experience, you should be getting paid for what you're worth. And just willing to work for free doesn't show that. Basically shows that you might not be skilled enough or something like that, because you are highly capable of getting a job that pays you well in Canada. There's a question from Sahil, and I guess that's for ACCES. Wants to know, are ACCES employment services free of cost? Yes, they are. All our services are free of cost. Our bridging programs, however, are in partnership with different colleges and universities, and there is a fee, and all of them are around, I think, $500. But usually people do get a reimbursement if they go through the Ontario bursary program for newcomers. So yes and no, there is a fee, but mostly people get reimbursed for it as well. But other than that, any of our services, helping you with your job search, setting up resume writing, all of that is free of cost for sure. So there's a lot of questions about different types of jobs that people are asking, Vivian, such as marketing jobs, let's say digital banking jobs, cybersecurity, finance. And I guess the best answer would be for them to go check out your website.
Yeah, absolutely. Because as I mentioned, we post, I would say almost 99% of our jobs on our public site. So definitely check out our website, and definitely, like I said, if you want to find a certain type of job, save the job that you're interested in, and we'll be able to send you automatically some jobs, some similar jobs.
Yes, and that works very well. So let's say if you had applied for a certain job and you didn't hear back from it, RBC will keep sending you jobs that you have shown interest in before, something along those lines, something that's similar. So yes, that's always appreciated. Masood has a question here. He wants to know, how can you explain about your work experiences that are not directly related to the job posting on the resume? It could either be, a lot of people ask this question, so either it could be something professional, like for example, if he's worked in IT, but not IT project management directly, or it could be someone who is in IT, but worked in a warehouse for 3 months in Canada before they can start getting back into the job market. How do you address that issue on the resume?
So I think everybody, because Canada is an immigrant country, right? Everybody understand coming to a new country, it's very hard for you to just get into your field immediately. It's really up to you to put on that on your resume or not. You can highlight your professional experience, even though it might be from India, from another from Europe or whatever. But currently, say you're driving a Uber, you're working in a warehouse, but you can highlight that you're using that opportunity to really, one, everybody understand it's a survival job, but what you learned. Like if you're ever invited to the interviews, this is not a waste of my time. I actually learned English. I actually stepped out of my comfort zone. So what an employer is looking for is someone who is positive, who is always willing to learn, who always has that growth mindset. So even though you work in a warehouse, it does not mean it shouldn't be. You shouldn't feel shameful, right? Because this is a real life, and you're trying to make a living coming into Canada, but you are making the best of it, and you learn a lot from the job. That I think is the perspective that I can share with everybody.
Thank you. I hope that answers a lot of people's question there. We have time to take up one last question. I lost it. It's right there. Oh, yeah. So is it, is it advisable to schedule an interview before coming to Canada? Like, let's say you're landing in the next month and you've set up an interview. Like, is that something they should be doing, or do you have other advice for them?
So I wouldn't say the interview is initiated by the candidate. It is usually initiated by the employer. Yeah. Right. So it's not up to, say, if I apply for a job with ACCESS Employment, it's not up to me to decide whether I need to set up the interview. It's ACCESS, right? So I wouldn't think that question makes a lot of sense in the Canadian recruitment process.
Yeah, so there was a lot of questions along those lines. So again, please note that the employer will probably know that you're not in the country. So think about it, they're like, people are coming continuously. There's newcomers, and by the time you land here, your turn will come as well. And I understand that everybody wants that safety net, a job secure before you get here. But honestly, it's probably a best thing that you don't have a job for a few weeks or maybe a month or two, because there's so much that is needed to be done before you look for a job. You have to find a place to stay, and if you don't like that place, you might have to look for another place. If you have children, school, buying every little thing that you have owned back home, buying it all over again, setting up a house, health card set up, getting your driver's license, like the list is endless. And if you're too busy doing these things and you already have a job, you will not be fully present at the job, and you might not perform as well as you possibly could if you are fully settled in Canada and ready to go. So there's pros and cons when it comes to getting a job as soon as you land, or waiting a little bit and getting prepared. So there's both ways to look at it. I'm just trying to avoid the panic here because everybody wants a job before they land. Vivian and Clarinda, do you have anything else to add to that?
No, I think we're, the only thing is really wish everybody the best of luck, and I hope you enjoy Canada, the very beautiful country, but I also hope that you can find a job in your area very soon when you land.
Yes, and just want to say that be positive when you come here. There will be changes, but have an open mind for all the learnings, and always remember that resources, advice, and help is there for you.
if you ever want to talk to someone, about anything, about your frustrations, come to our newcomer meet place at Brampton. Brampton,
Civic Center.
yeah, Civic Center. Yeah.
Yes,
So we'll
thank
see
you,
you there.
ladies. And it honestly feels like such a warm and welcoming place, and I am yet to walk by there. I'm literally down the street from you guys. But I will come and say hi hopefully sometime soon. Please follow us on, we are active all over social media. We are now on Instagram as well. Yes, we are cool, just like you. So add us on Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Facebook. And everyone, I wish you have a great weekend.
Thank you,
Thank you, Sonia. Thank you, everyone.
All right, bye everyone.
Bye.